Cool.
Hello and welcome to
Welcome to Way Too Bread, where we eat too much bread. Hello and welcome to Way Too Broad, a place for friends to talk about the things that they're really, really ridiculously excited about. I'm Hannah, and these are my co-hosts, Ben and Erin. Hi, Ben.
Hello. Hi,
and
Erin.
hi, Erin.
Hey, I got demoted. That's fine. I'm fine with this. This is fine. I'm happy for you, Ben. I'm really just so happy for you.
I just like to switch it up sometimes. That's all.
Okay. I'm fine with this. It's totally fine.
Erin, I like your hat.
Thank you.
It's a fresh style. Oh, gosh.
Fresh stuff.
I was at this meeting that I was at today that I told you guys about before we started recording. Somebody literally said some sentence that ended in fresh style. And I was dying inside. I think they were talking about the things that are on the ends of curtain rods. They were like, it's a really fresh style. And I was like, new shirt for a fresh style.
New shirt for a fresh style. The person next to you wondered why you whispered, new shirt for a fresh style.
That is like the person I was in high school. Did I ever tell you about the time that I was very straight edge in high school, and so like I had never like smoked pot or drank or anything, and the one time I was in like math class and this girl, somebody said something that made me think of something funny that I said to myself under my breath, and she overheard me, and it was like a complicated like inside joke with myself, and when I was trying to explain it to her, it cracked me up so much that she started asking me if I was high, and I was like, no, I've never smoked pot, and she like would not believe me because of how ridiculous I was behaving.
Hate that. You're just such a fun and jolly person. You shouldn't be accused of being on a drug. That's how I feel about that.
That's fair.
Gosh, you and I both had such intense straight edge phases.
Yeah, really intense. It really was.
Not really complimenting either. Like, our straight edge phases really didn't complement one another's, I feel like.
Do you mean they didn't happen at the same time?
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah. I guess not. I feel like they did for a while. I can remember having some really important conversations about God with you.
That's true. Now forgotten.
Forgotten.
Now we're all heathens.
Shit.
Oh man.
Inside joke with myself. Intense inside joke with myself, I think, is the name of this podcast or something. Whatever you said, that was funny.
Let me write it down and I'll fix it later.
A really intense inside joke with myself or something.
Okay. With myself. We'll see. It'll be in the running.
Yeah, cool runnings. Cool. Jamaican bobsled team. Got it.
So, Ben, you were trying to tell me about something earlier, and I shut you down.
So, you and I both love You Talking You Two to Me.
Love that show. Erin, do you know what that show is?
You and I both love. Do you know that song?
No.
Yeah.
I don't.
Like,
Okay.
you and I spoke of.
It's such a good song.
It is a good song.
There's just Stream of Jason Mraz.
That's right. Love that, Mr.
Ugh.
A to Z.
Yeah. Sorry. What was the
Holy
question?
shit, MRAZ. I just realized that.
Could you repeat the question?
What's that mug? Shit, we're so ADD right now.
This is an Alexander Hamilton mug.
Oh, it's great.
Where's your coffee from? Where's your coffee from? Unimportant. There's a million things I haven't done. Just you wait till I drink this coffee. Just you wait.
We didn't. Now I'm like, I want to talk about the thing with that Ben messaged us about Lin-Manuel. I want to talk about what everybody's drinking.
This is a place for friends to talk about all the things that they're really, really excited about all at once.
Well, what should we talk about? I can't decide what to talk about
why don't
first.
we get back to the thing I was trying to tell you about twice now?
Okay, Erin.
Need to let Ben have the floor.
Okay, but the question remains, Erin, do you know what You Talking You Two to Me is?
No.
It's a podcast made by Adam Scott of Parks and Rec fame and Scott Aukerman of Comedy Bang Bang fame. They both Adam Scott was like kind of a frequent guest on Comedy Bang Bang, and they both realized that they like hanging around each other and they're really funny together, and they both love the band U2. So they made a podcast just about U2, and they
made it when the next U2, the most recent U2 album, or maybe the one before that, was supposed to be coming out like within the next like month or two or something.
The one that got put on all of our phones. Against our will.
Yeah.
Yes.
That one.
That one.
But it was like a year before it actually came out. Basically,
it was even longer. It was like 2 or 3 years.
You're right.
Their plan was to do like a really short podcast where they like went through the U2 albums. Like until the next one, the new album came out, and then they like ran out of U2 albums or realized they were going to run out quickly, and they're like 2 hour long plus episodes, and they spend maybe like at most half an hour actually talking about U2.
Yeah, which is great for me, just perfect, because I could care less about U2.
Yeah, I don't really give a shit about U2, but I love that podcast.
Yeah,
and
it's so funny.
They ended it like they ended it with their last episode was they were the first like media outlet to reveal any of the new songs from the U2 album, and they got like U2 gave them the album to reveal first, and they like played little bits of it.
Wow.
And also the like when the podcast got relatively popular, they got to like go meet U2 in their studio while they were recording the album.
Wow.
And that's a whole episode too. But so they ran out of stuff to talk about basically because the new album's out, and they like got to reveal it. But Adam Scott's like favorite band ever, he's like an REM super fan. So just today they released the first episode of a new podcast called Are You Talkin' REM Re-Me?
Yes.
Oh my god. I'm so excited. And I actually like REM.
Yeah, me too.
Be like the first Scott Aukerman band.
Wait, you
thing.
too?
Oh dang. You got us. You too?
I haven't listened to the first episode yet, but I really want to. It's like 2 hours long.
That sounds like a bona fide enjoyable time. I'm on the edge of my seat to listen to it. Right? The edge.
Bone I see. I didn't even understand.
I didn't get the first one.
Get on my level. Get on it.
You should have said bonafide. That would have got it right away.
Bonafide. You know, it came out wrong in flight. I'm sorry.
Are you talking REM Re-Me?
Yeah. It doesn't make it like. Doesn't make sense.
It makes so much sense, actually. It makes so much sense.
I can't even... It's impossible, I think, to describe how much fun this podcast is to listen to. I am so excited.
Those two... they, like, got complaints whenever Adam Scott was on Comedy Bang Bang because apparently their voices sound too similar. Sometimes people couldn't tell them apart. And so to address that, in the first episode of You Talking You Two to Me, and throughout... They only call each other Scott.
To address that problem.
Like at the beginning of the episode, like, this is Scott, and this is Scott. It's just, I love them.
In order to address the fact that they barely ever talk about U2 on their YouTube podcast, they just call all of their like sidetracks mini podcasts, or and they'll be like, "Oh, this is an ep of talking money," and like,
is this episode of I Love Films?
I Love Films, yeah, this is an episode of I Love Films, and then there was like I love films, and I love films.
They just get like in these what was the phrase you used? Like super intense internal inside jokes.
Yeah,
that's basically what that podcast is.
Full of those. Yeah, even later on, they do a commentary episode of commentary. They have a few guests along the way who are also hilarious people. And then when they get into the part where they like ran out of content, or they realized they were going to run out before the episode came out, they started doing these weird esoteric episodes, like this one where they and all of the guests they'd had along the way all came back into the studio, and they did a commentary episode where they recorded commentary over their whole first episode with all of those people. So you had like 6 people talking at once over a recording of the same 2 people talking under them.
That's funny. So
also, one of my favorite episodes was, you know how I always do that, it's been a while thing?
Yeah.
That they do that, like that. I got that from them. And they decided to do an episode called Stained Glass with Todd Glass, where they invited the comedian Todd Glass on to talk about the band Stained. He knows nothing about Stained. It's just his last name is Glass. And so that was like the only reason he was on.
That's beautiful.
It's such a great, just free-form podcast. I love it.
Yeah. It's fun. I have more upfront stuff for you guys.
TMI.
Hit me. I got full frontal stuff for you guys.
Okay.
I have some from bottom stuff for you.
I have not watched any of the Olympics still.
Okay.
You did.
But
yeah,
I did watch...
You're an American.
I did watch the film It on Saturday morning, as promised.
What did you think about it?
I loved it.
Oh God, is this gonna be the
I
whole?
loved it too.
It's so good.
It's so good.
I haven't seen it.
You should see it.
You
I
should.
like clowns.
Oh.
Well, sometimes he's things scarier than clowns. So, do you like those?
No,
it's rare for things to be scarier than clowns for me.
Yeah, no, I would just super disagree with that statement, Hannah. There was nothing scarier than the clown. Okay,
the clown is very scary.
There was like the scary clown, and then there was this clown being even scarier.
That's fair. Mm-hmm. This movie was a lot scarier than I expected it to be for some reason. I'm not a person who's particularly afraid of clowns, but beyond that first scene, I didn't really know what I was getting into. So I was very scared. I was all by myself because Ian was in this room.
It was 7 a.m. on a Saturday morning.
It was 10 a.m. on a Saturday morning. But I was fine. Everything was fine. I didn't even scream one time, which is pretty amazing.
You just rhymed. Kind of.
Actually, Ian was in here on a Google Hangout with 2 of your brothers, Erin, playing D&D.
Cool.
And they were complaining about how loud the movie was. Because I don't know if you know this, but everybody fucking whispers in that movie, and then there's this like loud atmospheric music, and I just couldn't manage it. I was trying.
Was it disrupting their intense D&D game?
Yeah, apparently.
To have a little bit of like background noise. Guys, we need to focus. That was like that. Me mocking my brothers, not mocking your husband, just for the record. For the actual literal recorded record.
Just for the recording we're making right now.
To address your comment, Ben, I haven't seen it because I don't like clowns. I haven't seen a scary movie about clowns because I don't like clowns. Do you typically watch scary movies because you like the scary things that are in them?
No, I don't get scared of most things in... I don't get scared of most things in scary movies. Clowns are one of the only things I'm like actually scared of.
Interesting. We should have unpacked this in Halloween.
It's your fault.
Why?
Because of the scary story you told when I was a kid.
Yeah, I'm gonna take that. That's my bad.
Right.
I mean, it's not. It's also clowns' fault for being fucking horrifying. Like, why have they ever been a thing, especially for children?
Yeah.
Beyond, like, even if they're not scary to you, they're creepy either way.
Yeah. Scary is creepy to me. Creepy is scary to me, I feel like.
Yeah,
Guys, I hate to break up this stimulating conversation, but I just got a correction in from my fact checker outside. They were not playing D&D this weekend. They were playing Kobolds Ate My Baby, which is a different role-playing game.
Oh.
wow.
Let the record show. Let the record listen.
Let the recording record.
The show must go on.
But let me also say this about it.
About what?
About oh my god. I think that the message of the movie, I'm not going to give anything away about it, but I think the massage of the movie was really good. Like, really powerful.
Yeah.
So I think it's worth watching.
Oh, man. Am I flippy flappying, or did I just smack my lips?
I don't hear no flipping flappiness.
Okay, I think I'm good.
Okay. I want to apologize to our listeners for my volume issues last week. I'm taking steps to try to address it. It's my own stupid body moving around that's causing my volume to fluctuate so
Hannah
much,
submitted her letter of resignation today, effective immediately.
This will be my last episode of Way Too Broad.
We're not going to replace her. We're just going to have silences where she once was. So we'll wait about 10 to 12 seconds where the intro should be, and then I will say, "Hi, Hannah," and then Ben will wait, and then he'll say, "Hello."
Yeah. And then basically everything else will be the same, because that's all I contribute.
That's all she does. That's the intro.
The shows will not be edited and might not be uploaded anymore.
But we'll still be recording
Yep,
them.
we'll
You'll
record
just
every
not
week.
know. We'll still send them to Hannah, who will be immediately kicked off the Slack channel, so she won't get them.
It'll be a sad reminder of what I did wrong. Oh, no, I won't get them. Never mind, I won't care.
You'll just live with it forever, knowing that we're trying to send it to you.
Yeah. So I have one more thing I want to tell you guys.
Okay.
Shoot.
I've been really beating myself up over the fact that you guys are reading so many books like a Ben, and I have not read a book in a really long time. So it's not my obsession, but I just wanted to tell you guys, because I'm excited about it, that I am reading a book.
Way to go!
Nice.
And I'm probably going to talk about it after I finish it. But it's really interesting, and I started it a long time ago, and then I just stopped reading it, and I'm starting up again.
Nice.
And I'm like halfway through it almost.
Cool.
Well, great. Are you enjoying the reading?
Yes, I'm enjoying the reading. I'm enjoying the reading and the learning and all that good stuff.
I will confess I have not read an entire book this February.
February is a short month.
Thank you. That's what I thought. It basically doesn't exist. So.
Yeah, it's just not real. It's not real.
Yeah.
Basically.
I'm reading one now that I really am loving, but I'm just so busy. So.
Me, same.
Yeah, you're busy. Everybody's busy. Ben's busy, but he still reads. So we really should be ashamed of ourselves.
I really only read on the train, but I still get a lot of reading done.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a train.
Yeah, we don't have trains, Ben. Some of us can't afford an entire train. Okay?
How about you stop lording your train over us, Ben?
Yeah, I
Sorry.
really don't appreciate it.
I had a dream once that I owned a whole train. It was really, actually, a great dream.
Obviously. What do you mean, actually? Like, does anybody out there think that would be, like, a total bummer to, like, own a whole train?
It's a lot of responsibility.
A lot of maintenance.
Yeah.
It's true, but if you could afford a train, you could afford people to just do that for you.
No, I blew the last of my dollars on the train. I didn't
That
plan
is some
ahead.
bad foresight. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, I monopolized our upfront time. Does anybody else have anything that they wanted to talk about before we get into our obsessions?
I want to talk about that.
Hannah's fluent in French, and that was, in case you didn't know, she just likes to, like, talk in French sometimes.
So she slips into it.
It's really hard when you're bilingual.
No. Okay, I just have... no, we're already 20 minutes in. Well, I'll save it.
We got plenty of time. We got all the time in the world.
So I saw this thing. I didn't actually witness it. Speaking of the Olympics, that there was this half pipe freestyle skier. Have you guys seen this?
Oh, yes.
From Hungary.
Yes.
And she's terrible. She's not terrible. It's like, you remember how I talked last week about wanting there to be just like a pedestrian in the Olympics?
Yeah.
That's her. That's basically her. So all of these skiers, this is the half pipe, trick skiing, and they're like in the half pipe, all the other skiers like going really high, doing tricks, doing spins and flips and twirls, and she goes down, and like it would be like she just like doesn't fall but goes down and just like basically goes up the wall and turns around and goes back down. She does like one little trick, but it's not Olympic level, and that's not up for interpretation. It's not at all. And it seems really epic, like the way that she basically got into the Olympics through a series of loopholes of like you have to be in the top 30, but there were only like less than 30 people competing, so in this one thing, and then like her grandparents were Hungarian, so she was able to
she's actually American,
which would all be really epic. I was like totally on board with this lady. I was like, she's my hero. But in her interviews, she's not like, oh my gosh, isn't this awesome, Olympics bitches. She's like, I earned this, or I worked really hard to be here. Which is just so like disappointing, because like if she had been like, look at me, motherfuckers, Olympics bitches, like, can you believe this? I did it. Like, isn't this dumb and crazy? Then that would be awesome. But she was like, yeah, I'm just worked so hard to be here right now. And I want to be proof that you can work hard and accomplish your dreams. I want to be a beacon to other Hungarian women that you can, like, work hard and succeed.
She probably did have to do a lot of research to find all those loopholes.
That's true.
That's hard work.
Yeah, you're generous.
I don't think that's what they have in mind with Olympic athletes.
Yeah, I think everybody else there pretty much 100% devoted their entire lives to be there like every second of every day since they were, a toddler.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, that was my only note, is that at first I was like, oh my god, fuck yes. And then I was like, oh man.
Oh, do you guys play HQ Trivia at all?
No. The fuck is that?
Fun.
What the fuck is that, Hannah?
It's fucking fun.
Tell me what the fuck it is.
Okay, it's trivia. It's on your phone. But it's live, and it only happens twice a day.
Oh, can't you, like, win money from it? I feel like I've heard of this.
Yes, and that's important, too. You can win money. So, every day at 3 p.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can log in, and if you're there at the start, and you answer all 12 questions right, then you split the pot of money with everybody else who did that.
Cool.
Yeah. So you can't win astronomical amounts of money, because usually the pot is like $2,500. And I've seen, like, I saw the end of one once, and everybody won like 63 something. I've never gotten past question 7 personally, but
how do you have to pay money?
No.
How do they get that pot of money?
They just have it.
Okay.
Like they're leprechauns.
Okay. Cool.
Modern day leprechauns.
That was my guess. I just wanted to verify. Awesome.
I imagine there's some sort of advertising thing. I don't know. But no, you don't pay. It's free.
Cool.
So it's fun. You should get on it.
Get on it.
Don't tell me what to do.
Do you Google the answers?
You don't have time, because they're only you can only get 10 seconds.
Okay.
To answer each one.
Gotcha.
Ian doesn't even barely have time to like think long enough to do it. Like, which sucks, because he knows all the answers, but he just is a very thoughtful person, and so it'll get down to 2 seconds, and I just have to tap something because he's still thinking.
Right.
But such is life.
Yeah. All right. All the upfront stuff is up front.
All right. I am up first this week.
You're up front this week.
Hannah, it's you. You're first. I'm calling.
Now you eat your bread.
It's a bread eating contest? Is that what that podcast
No,
is?
it's just eating bread.
We're just eating bread. We're just gathering to eat bread.
We're
Breaking bread together, but virtually.
I would not listen to that podcast, but I would participate in it.
Yeah.
As a great excuse to eat bread.
Yeah, I would too. I would participate in it and appreciate its existence, but certainly not listen to it.
Certainly not. Why would anyone listen to it?
Nobody would. Is that the point of making podcasts? I don't think so, personally.
It better not be.
Yeah.
Okay, so my obsession this week is just 1,000 times more mainstream than last week.
Cool.
So,
My thing, I was supposed to come to you with my interpretation of Hot Fuss, so I listened to it a bunch this week, and it's absolutely what you said. Like, Hot Fuss is exactly about the storyline that you outlined for us. Like, there is absolutely no other interpretation of that album anymore. All other interpretations have officially ended and are no longer in memory.
I was worried that would happen because I already poisoned your brain with my interpretation.
I think the only thing that I could think a little harder about it, but I've always interpreted Andy, You're a Star as kind of a gay song, just because the reason is that there are two. One is that the line in a car with a girl, not that girl. Like, the song itself is like flirty or kind of romantic in kind of a they're not together way kind of way. And so I think that, like, with a girl rather than, like, if it were a woman saying that, I would expect her to say with that girl, not a girl. So
I think you're right.
Yeah,
oh, interesting.
In reality, yeah.
And I think, like, leave your number on the locker and I'll give you a call.
Yeah.
I know that lockers exist in hallways, but in what I always thought was like a locker room, like a locker room.
I never thought about that, but yeah, I think you're almost like on the record, right? I know that he has said that it's about an obsession that he had with a football player in high school when he was still like in 8th grade. I don't know if I don't know if Brandon Flowers is actually a gay man or if that crush was romantic or not, or if it was like more of just a general like admiration. But from the signs in the song and from, I think, a lot of people's interpretation of the signs in the song, I think you're right on the money. But it didn't fit that way for my narrative.
For your narrative, yeah. So the only thing that I would possibly add or tweak would be to try to drum up some sort of like gay twist there, like, and to turn maybe some of the characters in, that way or something. Anyway,
yeah, that would have been good to be able to include.
Cool.
If I ever do that again, I'll make sure there's a lot of gayness in it.
Yeah, throw some gayness into your, for LGBTQ group here.
Okay, I promise.
Cool. Brandon Flowers is married to a woman.
Oh, well,
Oh, he's a Mormon.
Wow.
Oh, yeah,
really?
and that's what I Got Sold, But I'm Not a Soldier is supposed to be about, according to another thing I read.
Oh.
Was that like him struggling with his Mormon faith? But I don't know if he like a practicing Mormon?
He and his family are featured in a promotional video on the church's website.
Wow.
Ooh, sounds like
I'd
it.
say so.
All right.
Isn't he from
I know
Las
that
Vegas?
Yeah, maybe.
Yes, maybe. Yeah.
That's a classic Hannah.
That's not.
Yeah.
I thought that my classic was to just like default to no.
Well, but when you
just say no a lot.
You say no, your default's no, but when you think even that you have even the possibility of something, you default immediately to a hard yes.
All right.
And I mean,
All
I do
right.
that too, as does our father.
Ah. So it's nature or nurture. It's one of those.
It's both.
Okay.
It's
so
a mix. Anyway, okay, the end.
the end.
Thus ends the Brandon Flowers segment.
My obsession is a new series on Netflix that I was watching right up until the moment I started to get ready to record this tonight.
What is
It's called Altered Carbon.
Oh.
God, that fucking thing has such a loud preview that like auto plays when you're let Netflix sit for a second.
Yeah.
So I hate it.
I hate that new Netflix autoplay feature, but I did recently see a blog post about how they programmed it, and I thought it was really cool. And it was very conflicting for me because I was like, this is really cool, and then I was like, I fucking hate that fucking feature.
I hate it.
It's like I never want it.
No,
there's not a scenario
why would you ever
where
want
I'm
it?
Especially because like it starts playing just like right after you finish reading the description if you're like browsing. And it's like, I didn't want to see it.
Can I live? Can I live?
Can you just let me live? And it doesn't stop playing until you're like several scrolls down away from it. Like it doesn't shut up.
Yeah, I hate it.
Yeah, and sometimes it's scary. Sometimes it's something scary. And I'm like alone in my house.
It's true. It reminds me of when you used to go on people's MySpace pages and it would automatically start playing music on it. That's what it reminds me of.
But that's different because you're in MySpace. Don't come to MySpace and expect it to be your space.
Right.
But Netflix is my space.
Is my space. Right. It's not
I'm
Netflix's
on my
space.
profile. I wish you could disable that feature.
Yeah. They should
Can you?
do that. Maybe you can. I can't say I've ever tried.
Me neither. I just like to complain about things without searching for a reasonable solution. Can I live?
Can I live? Please, can I just live? Hang on, that's got to be on the list of options for the name of the...
Can I live?
Erin?
Sorry, I just choked on my coffee a little bit.
Do you have coffee up your nose right now?
Just a little bit.
That's great.
There are worse things to constantly smell.
Yeah, you're going to be like, go to bed and smell the coffee.
I see what you did there. The best part of going to sleep is coffee in your nose.
Oh my god. Okay, so Altered Carbon, despite its really annoying and not that intriguing preview, like I actually find the image
like a person floating in water.
It's not even. He's like in a bag, like
Oh, what?
Oh god.
like vacuum sealed in a
vacuum
bag.
seal.
Oh, this is a bad show, Hannah.
It's not a bad show. It's a really good show.
All signs point to bad show.
We've gotten to 2 cons before we've even heard of the show.
You've
so
heard
convince
of it.
me.
I'm certain you've heard of it.
Oh, it's got Angelica in it.
Angelica?
Angelica.
Oh.
really?
Oh, is she the detective?
Elise Goldberry?
Quillcrest?
Quillcrest?
That person.
Oh, yeah, she's cool as shit. Okay.
That's Angelica.
She's awesome in this. I had no idea.
Angelica.
Okay, she's not the detective. For those listening who didn't just see that picture, she's Quill. Okay, so here's the deal. Altered Carbon, this is my kind of like spoiler-free description of Altered Carbon. It takes place in a somewhat distant future that is a little bit, as far as like aesthetic, it's a lot like The Fifth Element. Like,
neat.
The city that all of it takes place in is like, you know, extremely tall buildings and floating cars and stuff. For some reason, people still have to drive the floating cars. Like, I understand why that was a thing in The Fifth Element, because self-driving cars were like not even on the radar yet. But in this show that came out in 2018, why do people still think that by the time cars are flying, we're gonna still be driving them? It's absurd. Like the first episode features somebody chauffeuring someone to their destination and using it as it's ridiculous. So
there's a self-driving car in space right now.
Right.
Okay?
It drove itself into space.
Right. And in Bay City.
It drove itself in space.
Is that a real city right now?
What?
It takes place in a city called Bay City.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Doesn't sound real.
Are you like the city expert, Ben? You know, like
I know
all
a lot
the
of cities. I know a lot of capitals. There's a Bay City,
Probably
Michigan,
a city in California,
and a Bay City, Texas.
Doesn't take place in Texas.
Well, then what the fuck? There's also a Bay City, Oregon. There's a lot of Bay Cities.
All right. Thanks for.
Ben's like, that's not a city.
Oh, it's a nickname for San Francisco.
There is a.
Oh, I think it takes place.
There
in
is
San
a Bay
Francisco.
City in California.
Oh, all right. Well, it takes place in one of those, probably. So
Wait, maybe there isn't.
okay, it doesn't. It doesn't matter. So
We need to solve this before we move on, Hannah.
Yeah, it's like, please stop talking about that. Please stop saying that.
so okay. So in this future, everybody like at the age of 1 is issued something that they call a stack, which is like this little like magical looking metal thing that lives like at the base of your neck inside of your skin, and it actually it contains your consciousness. So if you die, as long as your stack is not damaged, you can be what they call re-sleeved into another body. So they call bodies sleeves, which I never get used to because it's disgusting. Yeah,
That's so gross.
but
Makes me think of like only bad things.
yeah, I know it's not great. And like actually, there's a lot of kind of nuance to that name. I think in the way that people treat bodies sometimes. Like I don't know. I mean, like there's a lot of moral issues, as you'd imagine, to a world where like people can be like switching bodies, and like the more money that you have, the more kind of like the fancier of a sleeve you can afford, and like the more like features you can have to it, and like and the more
gills?
clones you can make of yourself, so that or like you can satellite back up your consciousness, so that even if your stack does get destroyed, you can still live on.
Wait, there was a movie that was like just like this.
Was there?
Yeah, where like there was people when they died, they just like wanted their consciousness put into clones of themselves, and like the rich people could afford a bunch. I think it's like Island or something.
I haven't seen that, but I don't know. There's some really interesting. I don't want to give too much away, but there's some really interesting stuff. The main character is a guy who actually is like a rebel from some like conflict that his side lost from like 250 years ago, but he's been put into this body because he's got all these specialized skills from being a rebel. And so it's like him grappling, like him like trying to use his skills to solve a mystery to gain his freedom, and also trying to kind of like come to terms with this like world as it is, where like everybody that he knew and loved when he was alive has been like repainted as the villains of history. And so it's interesting on a lot of different levels, and it takes a lot of twists and turns, and it's one of those ones that does really good at cliffhangers, so that you're always like, oh shit, we gotta watch the next one. And also there's a ton of boobs in it, but not all of them are my favorite kind of boobs, but that's okay.
Can we please talk about your favorite kind of boobs?
You sound picky.
Well,
You do sound picky.
there are so many extremely, extremely skinny women in this show.
Oh yeah, they don't.
And it's not
Tend to
like,
have
but
great
here's the thing.
boobs.
I don't have a problem with small boobs, and I don't have a problem with like skinny women or anything. But like someone, if there was, I don't know how this happened, but all of these women that are on the show have like their boobs are too low for their frames. I don't know. I like.
Yeah, some skinny women do have nice boobs, but yeah, I see what you're saying.
Plenty of skinny women have nice boobs, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
I see what. Yeah, it's not a body type thing.
it's just confusing.
It's a boob thing.
It's a boob
thing. Yeah,
and it's
Just
just
a boob
okay.
thing.
They should have really called you and screened their boobs before.
yeah, I know.
Before they put them on.
I know. Everybody makes mistakes, and I'm not going to hold it against them. So
Yeah.
yeah.
If I'm watching the boob tube, I want to see the boobs I like.
Right. So yeah, it's good. I think that you guys should give it a chance, despite its terrible loud trailer.
Can I just say, like, boobs in television or movies are never something that, like, excite me. You know, like, I'm not like, ooh, boobs, you know. Maybe it's because I have them, you know, but I just don't, like, I am definitely into them, you know, in general, but not, it's just like in TV or television or TV or movies, it's not something that I'm like, oh boy, like, there's boobs, you know.
Yeah, like, there's somebody that I like, some content creator, always jokes about how, like, when she watches an HBO show and it, like, has the nudity warning at the beginning, that she gets, like, really excited. Like, I don't know.
Sometimes, if they're well placed, it can be, but in general, you know.
Like, well placed on the body or in the context of the episode?
If they're not hanging too low.
It's not
in the context, I guess. I'm saying all this and then I'm thinking of some, like, I think, yeah, I don't know. There are some exceptions.
I don't know. I mean, they're, like, it's fine. It's just, they are just, like, a part of your body. So, I'm
all about the
showing
free the nipple thing, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I don't find them necessarily as... If men can be shirtless, I feel like women should be too. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
There's a great, this is a little bit of a tangent, but there's this great Instagram account called, I forget what it's called. It's something like Genderless Nipple.
Yeah.
And they encourage people, have you heard of this, Ben?
No, I haven't.
They encourage people to send in a picture of their nipple, just like really close, like just it's basically a picture of just your nipple, and submit it to them, and they post all these nipple pictures on Instagram, and Instagram will take down pictures of female nipples but leave up pictures of male nipples, but you cannot tell if a picture is just of a nipple. You cannot tell what gender it belongs to. So they'll take down pictures of, like, men's nipples all the time, or, like, you know. I love it.
That's fantastic.
It's good. Yeah. They're doing the Lord's work.
They're doing the Lord's work.
So that's mine. That's pretty much all I have to say about it. It's good.
That sounds great.
Mm-hmm. We're not done with it yet, but I'll let you guys know how it goes.
Yeah, it's genderless_nipples.
Genderless nipples.
You just can't tell.
My fact checker says that he believes that Bay City probably means San Francisco, and I'd have to agree with him.
So he could, like, hear you and is just texting you.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's my fact checker on retainer, playing Breath of the Wild out in the living room. Oh, Erin is next.
I am next. Okay, hello.
Okay, hello.
Well, I don't have anything... I'm not obsessed with anything this week.
Then what are we doing here?
I don't know what we're doing here. We're recording. I thought we were here to eat bread, so that was a massive disappointment. The reason I have not been obsessed with anything is that I've been very oddly, uncharacteristically busy this week, and so instead of talking about what I'm obsessed about, I'll be talking about what I've been doing in my free time that it has not led to me being obsessed with anything. Which is something that I've talked about a little bit before, but I just happened to, in a really condensed block of time, been doing a lot of code, teaching code to beginner people.
That's great. I love
eloquently as that.
I love how you described it.
Helping people new to programming on their journey of programming.
That's even better.
Would be a better way to put that. So two things I've been doing. On Saturday, I participated in this really, really cool event that happens all over the country. So if anybody is listening and interested in getting into programming, it's called Railsbridge, and they have different chapters all over. Just Google for it. Railsbridge, as in a bridge. You cross over, perhaps, from one part of knowledge to another. And it's a free class that it happens like on a Friday night and all day Saturday, and food is always provided. Dinner Friday night, breakfast and lunch and snacks on Saturday, and it's totally free, and it's meant for underrepresented groups in tech. So like older folks or, you know, minorities of any sort. So it's really awesome, and we teach them to do Ruby on Rails, which is a web framework.
Cool.
And it's cool because, like, when I first signed up to TA, I was confused that it was teaching Ruby on Rails, because Ruby on Rails is a super duper complex, like, it's not complex, it's just like a lot. It felt like a lot to learn in one day. Mm-hmm. But I really love how the goal isn't for, like, to teach people this thing and expect that they will leave and, like, know it and retain it. Mm-hmm. But it's more like that first exposure in a really welcoming and, like, safe space. And so that if they're interested, they can know that, like, oh, like, I was able to do this and accomplish something and kind of take that next step. But not necessarily, like, feel that pressure. It's like, it's an unrealistic amount of time for anybody to believe that they would be able to, like, walk away and retain this knowledge. Mm-hmm. Which I like that it's purposefully done that way, as, like, it's not so that you maintain it. It's, like, your first exposure to code.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so that was Saturday, and that was cool. So I like, was prepping for that, you know, this week. And then I also, this week and next week, I'm teaching a introductory programming class for women, and there are like 20 students in my class, and that's been really great. But it's just like prepping. I've just been like busy prepping all my slides and stuff like that, which has been a lot of fun to make sure I don't embarrass myself in front of 20 people.
It's always fun to not embarrass yourself in front of 20 people.
It's my favorite thing to not embarrass myself in front of 20 people. Just love it so much.
Do you think you have a strong interest in teaching? I know this isn't the first class that you've taught.
No, I wouldn't say I have a strong interest in teaching.
You just have a strong interest in helping people learn these things and a passion for helping underrepresented groups in tech learn these things.
I don't know. I just like to do it. Passion is too strong of a word. I just like really enjoy doing these classes. I think it's like something I'm enthusiastic about. Mm-hmm. That might be a better word for it. I think passion is too strong of a word and too, like, you know, puts too much, like, purpose into it. But I just, like, I got connected with this group, Girl Develop It, which is the group I'm teaching the intro to programming class for. Mm-hmm. Because a friend of mine is a chapter leader. So it's like pretty effortless to, you know, coordinate me teaching a class. And I just like to do it. I feel, you know, I have enthusiasm for the topic and am able to, like, communicate that enthusiasm, you know, and do it well, like that sort of thing.
Yeah, you are a good communicator. And I don't think it's a stretch for me to say that you have an enthusiasm also for public speaking.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm a general enthusiast. Yes. Is my kind of, you know, just an enthusiast. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think something that's really nice about these intro classes is that the pressure is not very high. Mm-hmm. So it's really good. It's really easy for me to do also because I don't feel like I'm gonna get caught in something I don't know. Like, this is material that I know so well, and I feel extremely confident in presenting, because I feel like if I were to get asked any question, I could be like, I know the answer to that, or I could easily look that up and know how to. Mm-hmm. Versus, like, I think if it were anything more complicated, that wouldn't be the case. So that's another, like, contributing factor into like, why that's something that, I kind of am continually doing, just because it's easy. So
you like easy things.
I like to do easy things. I want that lazy glory, just like that Hungarian skier.
I worked really
hard to get there.
You did, though, actually. Really hard.
Not too hard. As much as was required. The bare minimum that was required.
And several loopholes. Well, what kind of topics are you prepping? Do you have like PowerPoint slides you're working on?
They're not PowerPoint slides. They're pretty cool, actually. They're slides written in the language that I'm teaching. So it's just my class is an intro to HTML and CSS. So that's just like the basic like structure of a website. So just like the kind of bare minimum visual aspect. Like the very first website ever on the internet was just HTML, right? Like that's just like all you need, the bare minimum you need for a website is HTML. And the slides I write are written in HTML, so that's kind of fun. So it feels like programming when I'm writing them. So.
That's cool.
But yeah, so girl development classes, I've already plugged this before on our pod, but wherever you live, even if they're affordable too. They're $12 per credit hour, or not credit hour because they're not credited, but $12 per hour of class. So it's usually about an 8-hour class spread out between 4 days. But they're all over the country, so if you're interested in kind of like, taking even like, and this class is for people who have never ever programmed before. So it's, even nice if you do anything remotely or you're just curious, in your free time.
Yeah.
Super accessible.
Cool.
And men can do it too. It's totally fine. I like that this class is all women and I'm teaching it, and then all my TAs are women too, so it's just comfortable.
It says there's a chapter in Providence, but then it's at 404. Page not found.
Shit.
But
I'll look into that. I can help fix that if it's an actual issue.
I think we should make a website for this ear snack.
Oh, okay.
That's what I think.
That could be easy.
That could be
Providence.
Easy. I found it.
Okay.
Yeah, they're like active. There's one on Saturday in Providence.
Oh, cool.
There's a chapter in Boston too.
Neato.
Sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Code and Coffee, that's kind of just like a like a networking.
Oh.
They don't.
No, I don't see any trainings then.
More events. Yeah, they might pop up. They need to get active.
They need to get active. Well, that's all right. I like their website though.
Yeah, fun fact, that website was redesigned in my code school class by my friend. She was on the team who helped with this redesign and reimplementation
Cool.
of the website. And when I took the Iron Yard.
Nice.
Yeah. That's all. The end. End of me.
End of me.
Great. Jorb.
Welcome to
Thanks.
Not Me now.
Welcome to not somebody else. Okay, but I think I've said this before. I really hate the name Girl Develop It, and I also hate their slogan. But I
Don't
love the
be shy,
organization.
develop it.
Yeah, don't assume that I'm shy. And also, I'm not a girl. I'm a woman. And so are all the women here, because we actually don't teach classes for girls. Okay,
Do you
that's all.
say that at the top of all your classes?
I don't.
If you're here, you're a fucking woman.
Each and every one of you are women. You're not a girl.
Yes. Well, great non-obsession, Erin. You're doing
Thanks.
the Lord's work.
The Lord's work.
Ben.
Yeah.
It's you now.
But he who needs no further introduction.
So, my obsession isn't really like, it's an idea, I guess.
Oh.
So as I've mentioned a million times at this point, I've been reading a lot of Isaac Asimov lately.
Isaac.
And
Asimov. Am I right?
Isaac Asimov. And robots.
I know some.
Yeah. Isaac Asimov has a really cool take on robots. One is driving a car
in Mars. I'm sorry.
In Mars. Isaac Asimov's got a really cool take on robots.
What is it?
Like his stories are just the way he. I can't say too much without spoiling some stuff, but just robots in his world are really cool. And so like he has a whole series about robots and like the Earth when robots are developed. But that's not my main thing. Isn't robots. I just have been thinking about them because I'm reading a lot of Isaac Asimov, and then also, Boston Dynamics, that robotics company?
Yeah, with the dog.
That releases those like super lifelike robots.
Yeah.
And they just, the one you're talking about is a new video they released that looks like a dog, and it can like open doors really well.
And people just kick them for fun.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
And so...
Well, you know what we're talking about, right, Erin?
No.
You need to see these videos.
She
They're
knows.
wild.
I'm just describing it poorly. The videos where the
it's like really, it's like slipping on ice.
Yeah, and they kick it
Okay.
to show that it can stay up.
And there's like a humanoid one that can do a backflip.
Yeah.
Fucking creepy. Why is that so creepy?
So creepy.
Well, that's kind of what I want to talk about is, are you guys familiar with the idea of the singularity?
Uh-huh.
Hannah only says the singularity on like every other episode of the podcast.
I don't think that's true.
What? Does she?
At least twice.
Guys.
Really?
All right. I need to get my fact checker on this. Hey, Ian?
Yeah, because, I can remember the last one, which was, Ben was like saying something about not being opposed to like artificial intelligence, and you're like, are you just covering your bases in the event of the singularity? I actually don't know what that is. That being said,
so there's a lot of ways
say it.
to define it, but basically the idea is that like technology grows exponentially. Like, have you heard of Moore's law before?
Mandy?
No, Mandy Moore's law. Heard of Mandy Moore's law?
Is that like candy or whatever?
It's the idea that the number of transistors on a microchip will double about every 2 years.
Oh, yeah.
So that basically the idea is technology is getting smaller exponentially and more powerful exponentially as a result of that. And there's this like theory, and it's been talked about by like a lot of people. Back to like John von Neumann, who is like the grandfather of all modern computer architectures. About a point where the intelligence of a computer surpasses the intelligence of all human beings combined.
Wow.
And that's what at least that's my understanding of like what people usually think of as the singularity, but it comes from this idea of like technology growing exponentially until we reach a point where technology is smart enough to create itself, and then the exponential gets even like more intense, because when we get to a point where we create a machine that can create other machines, that's the only one we have to create, and then like it'll just boom from there on its own because it already has more intelligence than all human beings.
Right.
Wow.
And
that's the idea of it.
And that's why people are like worried about it.
And there are people that really believe in it. Like the director of engineering at Google is like a huge believer in the singularity. He thinks that there's going to be an AI that can pass the Turing test in 2025, and that the singularity is going to be in 2049.
Wow.
2029 passing the Turing test. 2045 is when the singularity can happen, according to what's his fucking name? It's something Kurzweil.
Why don't you Google it?
Yeah.
I actually have an
Director
article
of
about
Google.
him. But I don't know. I'm not that scared of it personally. Raymond Kurzweil, that's his name. But I think it's a fun thing to think about, kind of like an interesting idea.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
to contemplate.
Oh, there's a Singularity Summit.
Yeah, he started that. It's like sponsored by Google, and he sponsored several things called like the Singularity University and Singularity Institute.
Google also,
and there are like a lot of really famous.
Hey Ben, didn't Google also buy Boston Dynamics?
I thought Amazon did. Maybe it might be Google.
I think Google did.
You might be right.
No offense to our baby Ben, but in addition to the director of Google, Elon Musk and Stephen Hawking are also concerned about it.
Yeah, Elon Musk is very vocal about it.
Yeah, so I think buys Boston Dynamics from Google. They did buy it.
SoftBank.
Alphabet, which is Google's parent company, bought Boston Dynamics, but now they're selling it to something called SoftBank, which sounds even more sketchy.
I think that's I feel like I remember seeing that as a mobile company in Japan.
Weird.
Although Gordon Moore, it doesn't support it.
Hang on, can I tell you guys an aside about Elon Musk?
Yeah.
Is he releasing a new perfume called Musk?
No, but somebody on some podcast, it was a conspiracy podcast, but it's like
that he's from Mars.
What?
That's what I've heard, is that he's actually a Martian.
Oh, no, it wasn't.
Well, that would certainly explain why he wants to get the fuck back there so damn badly.
It wasn't about... The conspiracy was not about Elon Musk, necessarily. I don't remember what it was about, but at some point he came up, and the guy called him Leon Musk, and then she tried to correct him, and he was like, no, I'm doing it on purpose because I don't like him, or something like that. And, I never realized how he's, one swap of letters away from just being a guy named Leon, and it just makes him so much less intimidating to me.
You burnt.
So that person changed my perspective on Elon Musk. Leon Musk.
Yeah, Leon Musk is one of the people that's very, very frightened of AI developing, especially privatized AI, owned by private companies.
He's worried about it.
About the dangers of AI to humanity.
Well, that's some iRobot shit, right? That's what people are worried about.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, a few months ago, or maybe it was longer, Facebook, very suddenly dropped their AI development. And I feel like the reason they gave was, it was this whole thing. They, were oh, we're just gonna stop because it doesn't seem profitable. But it seemed fishy to me. It made me feel like they found something that they didn't like and shut their program down. So there's this is an aside, and I'm sure Ben has more to say, but there's an AI element to Altered Carbon as well. There's a kooky sidekick who is an AI person. He runs an AI hotel, and there's been this one scene where he goes and meets with a bunch of other AI people who used to run AI hotels, which have fallen out of favor in this future, and they all are having this really interesting discussion about how they think they should feel about actual humans, and how some of them are starting to feel like humans are beneath them, and they're if they're gonna survive they're a higher life form, and they should be and they should be making use of the humans and stuff, which reminded me of this whole singularity talk that we're having, because they were made by humans, but now they believe they're better than them.
Yeah, that's part of and that's the thing people get scared about is if they start to gain a sense of superiority when they actually
why wouldn't they
become superior.
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't they? So this was what it was. Facebook's artificial intelligent robots shut down after they start talking to each other in their own language.
Oh yeah.
So they shut the program down. And I was like, that's creepy as fuck.
Yeah. I do remember hearing about that. That's very creepy.
They decided that English was not efficient enough. They
used English words.
Yeah, they did.
I read their conversation, and I don't know. It sounded to me like two computers bugging out.
Mm-hmm.
Not. I don't know, maybe I don't really know how you tell in that case if there was actually communication happening.
They said in this article, this one article, it said the way the chatbots keep stressing their own name appears to... See, this article has a fucking typo in it, so how am I supposed to believe it? appears to be a part of their negotiations, not simply a glitch in the way the messages are read out. I don't know.
Snopes says it's not true.
Oh, really?
I don't know if I have time to read about why.
That's fine. I don't know. Like, I said this the first time we mentioned AI like a while ago. I'm not that scared of it because computers are dumb.
That's true.
If you don't tell computers exactly what to do, they're not going to do it.
Right.
And they can, like, all machine learning is like a computer doing something it's told a bunch of times to, like, develop relationships between things. But that's not, it's the loosest definition of learning, in my view, that you could possibly apply to something.
It's a good point.
So I don't know. I'm not that scared of it, but like I said, I think it's an interesting idea to think about, because it is true that like technology has been advancing exponentially for a long time, and like we're in like the way exponential curves work is they start out really slow, but then they hit a certain point and just go fucking wild, and we're like on that going fucking wild part of the curve right now. And so it's interesting to think about like what's going to happen as we get farther up that curve, but I'm not really scared of like robots taking over
What's gonna
humanity.
happen is we're gonna have floating cars that we have to fucking drive ourselves.
Yeah, exactly.
Worst case scenario.
We're gonna have consciousness that we could like transport to other bodies, and we can clone ourselves, but we still have to drive our fucking cars because there's no such thing as a free lunch.
I was reading another article about this, it was another like robotics, I think it was like a robotics professor at UC Berkeley who's not scared of the singularity and is a big proponent of robots, obviously, and like his view is that they're not like a big fear people have for robots is like them taking humans' jobs away. And
that's already happening, isn't it?
To some extent, but like his point was that a lot of the times the robots that are like taking human jobs they're doing like the repetitive and tedious tasks that no human liked to do anyway. Like he gave the example of like I think it's like a delivery warehouse for Amazon where like the robot finds the package and brings it to the front, but like the delivery man is still like making that delivery. I don't know. He has some example related to that, where it's like there are still a lot of jobs, and like most jobs that need a human touch to them, and the ones that don't are ones that people wouldn't want to do anyway, and then with them being freed up could like have a better job possibly.
Right. Yeah. It's time to start training those people for new jobs.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a job in programming.
Yeah.
You need a lot of that.
Use one of the free or cheap classes that people like Earn Burn teach.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Contribute to the singularity.
Yeah, I mean, I think that when people are afraid of the singularity, I think essentially the central assumption, there are a couple assumptions I think they're making, and one of the main ones is that when AI gets smart enough to think, if AI ever gets smart enough to think for itself, which I think, Ben, you're saying feels unlikely to you at this point.
At least not in the near future.
Right. That it will then judge humans like unworthy of their obedience, basically. Or it'll want its freedom, but in many of the scenarios people fear also believe that humans basically are like evil and want to eradicate them and stuff like that. That seems like a really pessimistic view of society, and kind of a petty view of what like consciousness is, sort of. You know, I don't know. I mean, I feel like if you're smart enough as AI to understand like as much as a human understands, then you maybe would be able to understand some of like how you came to be also, like,
yeah, and appreciate the work that went into it.
And call your mom every once in a while, you know.
Right.
I think one of the other fears people talk about a lot, and it's like a common theme in robotic takeover media, is like
Propaganda.
Yeah, propaganda. Elon Musk propaganda. Is the idea that in addition to like feeling a sense of superiority in like intellectually, they'll also like feel one kind of morally, where they'll feel like they, from their superior intellect, can also see all of the flaws in human morality and all, like, and they don't have the same kind of vices that we do. And so that's another way they like gain superiority on us. Isn't really, I feel like, I don't know, maybe in that case it would cancel out any appreciation they have for having made them in the first place.
But all along they didn't understand the true meaning of life, which is love. So we win in the end.
Yep.
That's right. Even if we're all dead.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, who's to say they wouldn't have vices at that point?
If they become real enough to be like humans, they should, right?
mean,
That's
probably
part
like
of humanity.
really cool vices, like ones that we couldn't even think about. And we're like, that is fucking awesome. That should have been my vice all along.
Well, like, I think it's probable that part of how humans like maintain their sanity is through what's it called? Not vices necessarily, coping mechanisms is what I'm trying to say. Healthy and unhealthy. So if a computer has like the amount of consciousness that a human has, and they don't have an outlet to do that in some way, then I don't necessarily know that computer's going to stay functional for very long. Necessarily.
Interesting.
I'm like, this is all just like stoner talk at this point, but like, I was like completely made up is what I mean to say. But
Hannah, I don't believe that you're high.
I'm not. I'm really
This
not.
is a twist on an experience that you went through in your youth.
That was fun. It was funny. I wasn't mad at her about it, for the record.
You know, Ben, that did just make me think, calling it Elon Musk propaganda. You know, he's very vocal about people not doing or studying AI, or like he was vocal about Facebook, like how dangerous it was, which makes me think that he's doing it in secret. He just wants to be first.
Probably.
That sounds like he's a shrewd businessman. So
anyone named Leon is not someone to trust.
I got a question.
Leon Trotsky.
Anyone almost named Leon is not
so close
to
to being named Leon. Where did he come from? I feel like yesterday
South Africa.
Nobody was
South
talking
Africa.
about Elon Musk, and today everyone is talking about Elon Musk. Well, where did he come from?
I heard about him yesterday.
South Africa.
Tell me his
South
story.
Africa.
Is there a book about
PayPal.
him?
There's a Wikipedia article.
He was a high up at PayPal.
PayPal,
Yeah.
where you put your
He also
money.
thinks she should.
Where
He
you
also
put your
thinks
money.
she should work like 60 hours a week or 80 hours a week. He's like
Oh,
a
yeah, he
fucking
hates
workaholic.
unions.
He has 3 ex-wives?
4, I think.
4?
Is it 3?
Maybe just 2.
It's a lot.
I don't trust
I mean,
him.
either way, it's a lot.
Oh, no. He divorced the same wife twice.
Oh,
That's what it was.
I
interesting.
don't trust
Yeah.
him. I just don't trust him.
His signature looks exactly like mine.
It does, and also mine.
Yeah.
It's just some squiggles for the listener.
What are his political views? Oh, I think he's
Leon.
personal life. Yeah.
He's just.
forget
I don't know.
What I was going to say about him.
Everybody talks about him like he's this third coming.
He's a rich white dude. I don't know what to tell
second
you.
coming of Christ. But
He's
He wants to die on Mars.
Isn't there a reality show happening at some point where people are going to Mars? Or maybe it's not a reality show.
a reality show. You know what's
I think
interesting?
there's a reality. So there are people going to Mars who are never planning to come back. Do you guys know about that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's Elon Musk's whole deal.
That's his thing?
That's
one
his
of
thing.
one of his many deals.
Okay.
When I was working at I used to work at a conference center for the National Academy of Sciences in Woods Hole. And every year the president of the National Academy of Sciences would have like a big party there, and like all the big high ups from the national academies would be there. And they'd also have like conferences. And there was this like time where one of the people there was like a researcher who was working on something about travel to Mars, but like the psychological aspect of it. So she did like this experiment kind of thing for the people there where we cleared out, it was like a big mansion, this conference center, and we cleared out the whole living room, like all the furniture, and she had like a bunch of the scientists that were visiting lie down on the floor, like really close to each other, filling up basically the entire floor of the room. And like, I think she was trying to like show them how difficult it was to stay in such a confined space like that, even for like 20 minutes. And then the trip to Mars would be like 6 months of that.
Wow.
Also, apparently, you know what I learned the other day is that one of the main difficulties with the trip to Mars is like we have the rocket power to get there, because you only have the rocket power to get out of the atmosphere, and then inertia could just take you as long as you're on the right trajectory. But the difficulty is shielding humans from radiation, because while you're out, like, we don't have the protection of the Earth's magnetic field or the atmosphere while we're out there, and so we just get like fucking bombarded with ultraviolet radiation from the sun.
Jeez.
Doesn't sound worth it.
Right?
I feel like
Also, like,
there's a lot going on down here that we could...
I like Earth. Like, Earth is where all my things are.
my cat's on Earth.
Yeah. Can you bring
that
your
said,
cat
I would fucking
with you?
love to go to space. Like, if I go to the International Space Station, I absolutely would. I think it'd be amazing.
I'm afraid of heights is the problem.
I feel like it stops feeling like heights at that point.
I'm afraid of drifting off into space and twirling forever until I die.
Well, that's just silly. I mean, heights I can understand, but...
The movie Gravity was a very scary movie.
Oh, okay.
Gravity.
My resident fact checker wants me to ask you guys a question.
Okay.
Would you rather... Hold on, let me mute myself for a second.
Ooh, secrets.
They're conferring. His resident fact checker is not Kylie.
All right, here we go.
This singularity.
Would you rather go to the moon for 10 seconds or to Europe for a year for free?
Europe
Both
for a
for
year,
free.
absolutely no question at
Europe
all.
for a year.
Oh my god, 10 seconds? What? And then I would die? Like, what happens after those 10
No,
seconds?
you come back.
I'm
You get to
dead.
come back.
No,
you
fuck
wouldn't.
that.
You wouldn't.
Fuck that noise.
Assume you wouldn't
That
die.
sounds
But, like,
terrible.
For free?
There's nothing up there, Ben. Do you
Look,
understand?
I could be
What about a minute?
drinking
Not 10 seconds.
bottles of wine in
You know what
Italy.
they don't make
about a
Go to
minute?
the
on
moon?
the moon? Wine, cheese, delicious breads. None of that.
None of that. Why would I go to the fucking moon? That sounds terrible. When I could go to Europe for free for a year. Like, it's not even tempting,
There's
Ben. Let
so
me just
much of
stress
this
to you,
world
it's not even
I
tempting.
haven't seen, and it includes all of Europe
Yes.
for a whole year for free.
I don't even go to the moon.
Okay,
The
my
moon's a
resident
drag.
fact checker is telling me that only lame people choose Europe, so sorry, guys.
You need a new resident
saying
fact
that?
checker. That's what I'd say to that.
If you choose Europe, you're wrong, says Kylie. I was really torn when she asked me that. I think I've landed on the moon.
Oh my god, you have to think that Neil Armstrong tried to work that sentence in somehow, at some point in his life. He's like, I'm torn between these two snacks, but I think I've landed on the moon, guys.
I think you landed on the moon for 10 seconds, and then you came home, and then you forgot about it because it was so boring and lame.
It definitely would not be boring or lame. Are you kidding me?
And then you tell your friends, you'd be like, I got the option to go to the moon for 10 seconds.
Earth. You could see the whole Earth.
I want to see
and you could jump around in 1/6 of the gravity.
I want to see the world from down here, Ben.
Yeah, that's like watching a party from outside the window and many thousands of light years away.
Would you rather go to an awesome...
Not thousands of light years away.
Would you rather go to an awesome
you wouldn't
party
see the moon if it was
for an
thousands
entire
of
night,
away.
or borrow a pair of binoculars and look into the window for 10 seconds?
That's so not the same.
Everything is here.
I've landed on the moon.
If you went to the moon for 10 seconds and turned down a trip to Europe for a year, and you're like, you guys, I went to the moon, we'd be like, what the fuck are you doing? You should go to Europe.
No, we wouldn't even be talking to you because we'd be busy still in Europe,
how the
and you'd
stars
be at home,
would look.
like reminiscing about the moon.
Imagine how the stars would look from the fucking moon. It'd be amazingly beautiful.
You couldn't send us a postcard.
You could see a minute. Change it to a minute.
A minute?
You said 10 seconds. You said 10 seconds.
I know, but I changed it to a minute.
And I would...
What, does that change it? It sounds like you're still going to Europe for years, so what do you care?
Absolutely.
Yeah, if it was
then stop giving me shit about change it to a minute.
If it was like a day or like 6 hours or like an hour. 6 hours is too long. I would think about it.
Hannah says if it were a day or maybe 6 hours, she'd think about it.
I love my worldly pleasures.
The minute
I just really
enough.
do.
You'd be right back to him. You'd be right back to him.
No, she wouldn't.
I love my worldly
The thing
pleasures.
is, though, like, you can go to Europe
for money.
I can't go
right now.
to Europe for a year.
Free.
You can go to Europe for a couple weeks.
For money.
Yeah. You can't go to the moon at all, money or not.
I don't fucking care. I don't want to go. I don't want to go there. If there were no choice, if there were a choice between go to the moon or not go to the moon, I'm still choosing not moon.
It's like where you go for punishment. It's like,
No, it's not, because you come back after the minute's up.
Or you die in travel, which is more likely.
No, this is like a perfect scenario where you, like, apparate there.
Oh, okay.
And come back.
Well, this is getting very unrealistic, Ben.
It's unrealistic.
I didn't know that I would also get to be...
It's unrealistic either way. You're not going to go to Europe for a year for free.
I didn't know that I would also be a wizard in this scenario that really changes things.
Wait, would you be a wizard in Europe too, though?
Well, no, because you'd apparate to the moon. Okay. If my choices were apparating to the moon, becoming a wizard, getting to go to the moon for 10 seconds, but remaining a wizard...
you don't become a wizard. You just get to apparate once, twice.
No.
Once there and once back.
Then no.
No. If I get to be a wizard, then I'm definitely choosing moon wizard.
Ow.
Fuck Europe. Moon wizard all the way.
Kylie's yelling at me. I need to read these here. She said you'd want to stay on the moon for a day, but are you going to rest a bit while you're there? She said, the point is to look around and get a life-changing moment. There's like a mental diagnosis for astronauts who get a life-changing experience after that perspective change.
Is it
seeing the
bad?
Earth from the outside?
Does it make them bad people?
No, it's a very unique mental phenomenon that only astronauts get to experience, and you would be able to too if you went on the moon for a minute, and you get to like see all the fucking stars in the
really
universe.
Sounds lonely, and no, you would not see all the stars in the universe, Ben.
You'd see all of those stars in the galaxy.
I am putting the not an astronaut.
I don't know.
Unless I get to be a wizard, as stated. That will be assumed from our correspondence here on out.
If I could go with somebody, like if I could take Ian with me to the moon so that I could share that experience with him for an hour, and we'd have a picnic with food from Europe.
Oh, you definitely should try to have sex on the moon, because that would be cool to tell
Yeah,
people.
that's true. That would be
I fucked on the moon.
It's called the overview effect. It's a cognitive shift in awareness reported by some astronauts and cosmonauts during spaceflight. often while viewing the Earth from the orbit or from the lunar surface. It refers to the experience of seeing firsthand the reality of the Earth in space, which is immediately understood by a tiny, fragile ball of life hanging in the void, shielded and nourished by a paper-thin atmosphere. From space, national boundaries vanish, the conflicts that divide people become less important, and the need to create a planetary society with the united will to protect pale blue dot becomes both obvious and imperative. It only takes a minute, and you could get that.
But that also, like, okay.
You change your life.
I've watched Cosmos, okay? And when they did that thing...
Yeah, that's...
when they did that thing...
It's the same with actually going to the moon.
Listen to me.
Right, my bad.
When they did the thing in the first episode where he zoomed out from the Earth, and then he zoomed out from the solar system, and then he zoomed out from the whatever's after that, I lost my shit. I, like, made freaky, outy, squeaky noises... like beyond compare, okay? And Ian can attest to this. My resident fact checker can attest that I freaked the fuck out. And that I feel like I already think about that when I'm feeling overwhelmed. I think about that episode of Cosmos and I feel a little better because we're all so small and whatever, but the majority of the time that makes me feel really small and insignificant and not great about stuff when I think about it.
Yeah.
So like that psychological effect does not sound like it would be all sunshine and rainbows.
To me than like saddening.
Huh?
That the idea of like being relatively small and insignificant is always more relieving to me than like saddening.
It's not saddening. It's just like it's really hard to conceptualize, and it's also like I think it can totally like veer over into like what's the point of doing anything territory really easily. You know? Mm-hmm. So I think about it when I'm overwhelmed, but I try not to think about it at other times.
Yeah, I get how it veers to that territory, but I've never like. That's so. I mean, it's. Why can't I fucking talk today?
Fucking do better, Ben.
It's like it just gives me motivation to do whatever the fuck I want instead of doing like.
Gives me the willpower to do whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah, you like not whatever I want, but like I don't know. It helps with if you're like struggling to make decisions, and it's like, you know what? It doesn't matter anyway. Why don't I just do it? Which one will be happier for me? Will make me happier? I think that's a healthy way to be, and I think being on the move for a minute would help you achieve that even more.
I think being in Europe for a year would make me feel a lot happier.
Right.
No, it wouldn't, because then the next 5 years you wouldn't be in Europe and you'd be sad.
Be like, oh my god, remember that time? Or maybe I would.
Ben, remember?
I'm still choosing Europe.
Listen, you know, in this giant universe where all that really matters is whether we're enjoying our lives, why don't you just let us go to Europe?
I think there's no right answer. I think it's a personal preference, right?
Yeah,
it's like Coke or
like
Pepsi.
Or would you rather be invisible or fly?
Fly? Absolutely.
Okay.
That one seems easy. Like, what's the advantage of being invisible? Creeping up on people?
Creepy. There's no, like, non-creepy reason for being invisible.
Yeah.
I don't have a definitive answer, and I feel like I would need more logistical details about flying. Like, how much effort?
Would it be like exercise? Yeah, it's like, because then I'm just not gonna do it. People are gonna be like, "You can fly," and be like, "Yeah, but it's like a whole thing." Is
there like a cone of air that protects me from bugs? How fast can I fly? Yeah. Like if I could get me places faster without a car, absolutely.
If it were like a jump soar sort of thing, like you could jump. Like a downhill slope, you could just like jump and kind of soar down.
Yeah. Oh,
that would be pretty rad.
We should wrap up. We're extremely over time and silliness. Yeah. So, my homework for everybody is watch Altered Carbon. It's on Netflix, and don't watch the trailer. Just watch it. It's good. Got a lot of interesting themes to think about. And my Twitter is at Anthropology. on Twitter. Erin was next.
I was next.
Erin was next. Go ahead, Erin.
Okay. My homework is, if you're interested in learning to program at all, you can look into Railsbridge or Girl Develop It.
Heck yes.
Yeah. And my Twitters are at Ernburn, and I review lesbian movies and books on Instagram at LesbianMovieReviews. I keep trying not to say at LesbianMovieReviews, but I can never think of a better way to give my Instagram without saying at.
Oh, hang on. I have one more thing. I always forget to mention it on this ear snack, and then I feel terrible about it. I have another ear snack / podcast. It's called it's not called Way Too Broad. This is that one. It's
called Way Too Broad.
It's called So Dreamy.
That's the theme song. That's the intro.
It's called So Dreamy, and it's about dreams. And I love dreams, and so we talk about them. And Erin submitted a bunch of her dreams, and I did too. So we listened to those dreams. And Ben, you're...
And they impose heterosexual marriages with me and Lin-Manuel Miranda. Okay.
Whoa.
Oh my god.
Robot.
Yeah, Erin, you just became an internet robot.
Oh, am I okay now?
You're okay.
Yeah, you're fine. You're okay.
It's the singularity.
Ben.
My homework, I guess, is to read about the singularity. It's cool. It's fun to think about. Also, that it made me think about this short story I read a while ago by guess who? Isaac Asimov.
Oh no!
It's
Your
called...
new boyfriend.
It's called The Last Question. It's not like directly related to singularity, but it's like about technological advancement, and it's kind of like takes place at a point like right when the singularity's reached. It's really cool. I recommend it.
Is the last question, would you rather go to the moon for 10 seconds? Or...
The last question is, how do you reverse entropy?
Oh.
Just do it. So okay.
Eat that.
If you want
my Twitter
to reach us as an ear snack.
What about my Twitter?
It's not done.
Just go faster.
I keep interrupting him. It's not his fault.
My Twitter is at AnyDiscoGreg. Today my cat slept on my lap for 2 hours and I took a bunch of pictures, so I'm going to post them throughout the next couple days.
Okay, and our ear snack Twitter, if you want to reach us as a podcast, is at 2broadpod, TOO broadpod. If you want to email us and tell us about whether you would rather go to the moon for 10 dumb seconds or Europe for a whole year.
A minute. Let's make it a minute.
You can
One dumb minute.
Email us at waytoobroad@gmail.com. And if you have a minute that you're not on the moon, send us a review. Write us a review on iTunes. And
or write us from the moon. Oh wait, there's no internet on the moon because it's such a drag.
You can't even refresh your Twitter feed. Why would you go there? God.
You can't even take a picture and post it on the gram.
I get to later gram it. God. Okay.
Hashtag latergram moongram.
Okay, the podcast candle is extinguished now. Bye.
Bye.